my channel. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. Yesterday I was thinking of some videos, and the thought occurred to me that since I call myself the caver's wife, some of you might be expecting sometime in the future some caving videos. And I'm not saying that they won't happen, but there's a few things that you need to know about me. I don't cave. I'm not a caver. My husband is a caver. And the reason why I call myself the caver's wife is because, one, I'm very proud of the accomplishments that my husband has made. And because he's a caver, we have opportunities for very interesting things to happen around here. He doesn't have a very normal job. He is a caver by occupation and by hobby. I want to tell you a little bit about how my husband and I met. Pardon me if I gush a little. My grandfather pastored the church that my husband grew up in. And so from the very beginning, even before I knew him, there was a family acquaintanceship. The first time I ever really remember seeing my husband, I was probably about 14 or 15. And we met at a church fellowship. I grew up in Georgia, he grew up in Kentucky, and our churches would yearly get together and have like a fellowship weekend, kind of like a church camp. But since my husband is so much older than me, he's 7 years older than me, we never really paid each other much attention. That is until I was 17, and I know that's still young, but that was when we really started paying attention to each other. I wasn't dating anybody, he wasn't dating anybody, and so we exchanged contact information and talked a lot on the AOL Instant Messenger. Do you guys remember that thing? With the dial-up and all that. For several months, we would converse back and forth. Then toward the end of that year, he asked me out on a date. Now, we didn't actually get to go out on our first date. That's my coffee pot going off. We didn't go out on our first date until January of the following year because of weather. And again, he lived 400 miles away and it required travel. Our first date was in January of '98. I turned 18 that April. We were engaged the following month in May. And then we were married in December. Look at us, just babies. I obviously love wedding cake. Still do. So for those of you who think, oh wow, you're so young, it won't last. We've been married 17 years. We have 2 obnoxious kids that you hear in the background. They're not always obnoxious. But we are very much in love, so it's not something I regret. He doesn't either. We love each other very much. And yeah, 17 years in, and I don't see any turning back now. So, but for those of you who are asking, well, how did you make it work? Or how was it that you can marry so young and still love your husband and still be together? Well, first of all, the main thing that bonded us together, because in every other way, we are opposite. Which I think is one of the reasons why it works. But the one thing that we have in common, or the couple of things that we have in common, is our faith. We both have how we want to raise our children in common. So those are really the 2 big things that we have in common. Everything else, we are very different. Our conservative views are the same. So I got choked up, not like wah choked up. Our personalities are opposite. I'm very animated. I love to talk. I don't know a stranger. He's kind of quiet and reserved and to himself. Since we have spent so much time together, we have become more like each other, which I think is another thing that is why our relationship works. A lot of people are like, oh, you know, I don't want to marry someone who wants to change me. No, don't marry somebody who wants to change you, but marry somebody who makes you better. Who encourages your walk in the Lord with the Lord, and also realize that you both have to change. In fact, the preacher performed our wedding ceremony. That's what he told us. He said, you both have to change. It's not one or the other, and it's not like I'm completely changing his personality or he's completely changing mine, but just that we change together. You know, we evolve to fit one another better. Okay, so enough about all of that. Let's get to the caving part. We live in a karst area, or a karst region, which means that we have an underground drainage system because of all of the sinkholes and caves in this area, and it's due to the limestone that's in this area. There's a lot of caves in this area, and my husband went to college and got a Bachelor of Science degree in Parks and Recreation. Whenever he was in college, he took an internship at one of the privately owned caves and was just bitten by the caving bug. And because of his internship there, he was able to get a really fantastic career with the National Park Service. And he is a park guide at the world's longest cave. A lot of his downtime is either spent studying or exploring some caves. So because of his love and his passion for what he does, he's been able to do a lot of remarkable things, and he's contributed a lot of information to this, to his field. So I'm a caver's wife. In other words, my husband is a caver and I am not. I did do the wild cave tour that is offered at the park and learned pretty quickly when we got down there that I am claustrophobic. It was not a pretty sight, and I was really sad for him because, for one thing, I wanted to do this tour to impress him. I was really trying to be like his super wife, and it was really a super mess is what it ended up being. I got down there, had my very first and so far only panic attack that I've ever had in my entire life, and I just couldn't do it. And you know, here's all of these other visitors that were on the tour with us, and the tour guide's wife couldn't, because my brain was just telling me I was gonna die down there. It was sad. I did make it through the whole tour. It was very difficult mentally and physically. Parts of it were very fun. I love to climb, which is something I didn't know. And there's a lot of opportunities where you get to climb up breakdown, you get to do some canyon walking, and those were fun. That kind of made me feel like a kid again, like I was climbing trees with my brothers again. But yeah, I am not a caver, and I don't know if I will ever try it again. I still feel anxiety thinking about being in the cave like that. I'm not a caver. I am a homesteader at heart. I love to garden. I love to be outside above ground. And so this channel and my blog is really more about my interests, and I do take the opportunity when I can to brag about my husband. Now, because he loves what he does, which is huge. They say if you love your job, then you'll never work a day in your life. So that to me is worth so much. He's also an excellent cave photographer. And he has a river named after him, one that he discovered, not the cave that he works at now, but one that he previously worked at. And he's done a lot to, like I said before, contribute to his field. So just really proud of him, and really love being his wife. So that is why I call myself the caver's wife. So that's all I've got for you guys today. I'm going to show a few more photos, just some pictures from over the years. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it's, you know, not a tutorial. It's not anything educational, but it is a little bit about me and my family. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. Please be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Check me out on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest. And until next time.